Alright, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Chat with the Rat, episode 8 with Big Fudge slash Rashad Baker slash LP.
LP, yeah. Chat with a Rat with a Black. That's what we got going on here.
It's good to have you, sir.
I appreciate being here. Thanks for inviting me to your home.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to rob you immediately, though.
Oh, yeah. You won't get much.
That's okay. I'm sure I'll get a long prison sentence out of it. 3 hots in a cot and occasional beating by a guard.
Yeah, I'll probably be there with you. I'll start off by asking you the same question I ask everyone else. How long have you been doing comedy for?
I would say recently, due to the pandemic and all that, 2 years since pandemic. My very first open mic was actually in like 2010.
Okay.
But shortly after I did that, I started working at night, so I never really got into the comedy hard back then. But recently I started again, probably about 3 years ago. COVID took a year of my comedy time, so
Yeah.
my comedy prime.
So did you notice any people that like maybe you would do comedy with before the pandemic that haven't came back out afterwards?
There was actually one dude who I used to like doing comedy with at Hops and Vine. Tall, skinny dude named Jack Johnson.
Okay.
He was a funny guy. I miss Jack. But he used to come out to Hops and Vine with us every Thursday. It was Thursdays. And he hasn't, at least I haven't seen him out or anything recently. I actually hit him up not that long ago. And he's hit an open mic every once in a while, but he hasn't been doing it as regularly as he used to.
Okay.
So I do miss him.
Right on. Well, Jack, if you hear that, come out and do comedy again.
Yeah, get back on these comedy streets, man.
Yeah. I asked LJ if there was anything that he wanted me to ask you.
Why would you ask him?
I just happened to be talking to him earlier today, and told him that I was doing the podcast with you tonight, and I was like, "Do you want me to ask him anything specific?" And he said, "Why aren't you funny?" And no, I'm just kidding. He didn't say that. He said, "Ask you why comedy."
Why comedy?
Yeah, that's what he said. So I'm guessing, like, why did you start?
I mean, I can't rap, so
Fair enough.
I'm a terrible breakdancer. I don't know. Probably the same reason a lot of people got into comedy. You got trauma and you want to tell other people about it, but I can't afford a therapist, so
Fair enough.
I do comedy. I make some money doing it this way.
Yeah.
But my family was funny. Grew up in a funny family. You got to be funny too. And as a kid, used to watch a lot of stand-ups and albums that I probably should have been watching.
Yeah.
But that stuff kind of stuck with me for a long time.
Did anyone else in your family try comedy at all?
Actually, I got a cousin who does comedy in Orlando.
Oh, cool.
Eric Feeling. He does comedy up there.
Nice.
Yeah. You probably run into him eventually. Catch yourself out there.
Right on. Yeah, I've been meaning to make my way out to Orlando. I just haven't yet.
Yeah, I gotta get back out there. It's been a while. I've been mainly in the Tampa area recently.
Yeah. If I stray out of Polk County, it's usually out to Tampa.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. I feel like it's just easier. Orlando's such a pain to get around and everything. It's,
I can feel that. Yeesh.
Yeah.
Especially downtown, because that's what some of the places are. Downtown.
Yeah. Yes. Also, he wanted me to ask you, who are your biggest influences, like comedy?
In comedy? Biggest influence is comedy. If I had to actually, if I want to go, I'll do this 2 ways. I'll do family members who I thought was crazy funny, who helped me explore my humor. One of my uncles, funny dude, very funny guy. Always able to make me laugh, and I kind of looked up to him for that. My mom was funny. She was hard as hell on us, but she was funny too.
Right.
As far as actual comedians, some of my favorites that I would say kind of had an influence on me, obviously, to some people who know Patrice O'Neal.
Okay.
Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
Of course. Oddly enough, Bill Burr.
Yeah.
I mean, I find him very funny and very high energy.
Yeah.
And I just like the way he tells his stories, even though I can't mimic it. Like how he can start a story and then immediately goes from 0 to 60 telling the story with anger.
Yeah.
Probably lastly, I don't want to take up all the comedians, but Tom Segura is another one.
Okay.
He's a storytelling comedian, and I love watching him work. I've watched probably all his specials maybe 10 times.
Oh,
Watch
yeah.
Tom.
He's coming soon, right?
I know he's coming to Lakeland. I'm gonna see if I can host this show.
Hey, that's a good idea.
Hit him up on Twitter and be like, "Don't be racist, Tom. Let me host." See if that works. You build some black fan base.
You should try it. Who knows?
I'm gonna try it. What's the worst that can happen?
Exactly. Yeah. Which leads me to this next question. What is the biggest show that you've been a part of?
The biggest show?
Yeah.
I would probably say the one that's closest to my heart was the Friends and Family show at Laugh Out Lounge in Winter Haven.
Okay.
Mike handpicked the comedians he wanted on that, and it was the soft opening for that, and it was packed out. So that was fun. It was real good to do that. And another one at Laugh Out Lounge was the New Year's Eve show. I've never seen so many old people in one spot. That wasn't the Villages, but it was a great show. It was balls to the wall. Like those old people were getting it.
Man, a lot of old people show up for comedy shows.
They do. I mean, they figured if they're gonna die soon, might as well laugh.
I guess so.
Do something. I spent all my life being mean and angry. Might as well spend these last few hours laughing at somebody.
Yeah.
So how you doing, Grandma?
Yeah. I was kind of surprised whenever I first started going to different comedy shows, how much of the crowd is old people.
Older people. Yeah. It is unreal. And oddly enough, you think that I discovered doing my comedy that old people find it very funny, and then they also find me very approachable. As a giant black man, you think that they would be grabbing their hips and their walkers and be like, no, but no, right after the show, they walk up to me like, you're so funny, you just speak your mind. I'm like, yeah, that's something I do. And then sometimes they'll hug me and I gotta pat myself down. I'm not gonna lie, one time this old lady hugged me and she grabbed my butt. I was like, that's not weird at all.
Alright. So what do you think about the new group of comedians that have started coming out post-COVID or we'll say post-COVID.
Yeah, post-COVID, because COVID didn't really exist in Florida apparently.
Yeah.
You mean locally, like all the boys around here? Or you mean just everybody in general?
Yeah, just everybody in general. Well, both.
I'm gonna go locally first. You didn't do anything pre-COVID, did you?
No.
I don't remember seeing you on anything post-COVID. But there's some of you guys I actually love watching work. You, LJ, old punk ass. I like watching LJ work.
Yeah.
I know Andy was doing it before COVID a little bit.
Yeah.
It's nice to see him back out doing it again too. COVID didn't slow him down. Miles Neff, actually, I think I did one open mic with him pre-COVID. But I see him a lot post-COVID. I like watching Miles do his thing. And one more person, Thomas Howell. I heard his name a lot.
Yeah.
But I've never worked with him until post-COVID. I like watching him work.
Yeah, I don't know if I've seen him perform or not yet. I see his name all the time, and I think I'm on a show with him on May 14th. I think he's on that show
at Pink.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if I haven't seen him yet, I'll get to see him then. But I see that name all the time.
He's a funny dude. I like Thomas.
Good. Then I'm glad he's on the show then.
Yeah. No, you're gonna get a kick out of it.
Nice. But yeah, it's kind of crazy. I didn't realize whenever I first started coming out, because most of the group had already formed by then.
Yeah.
So I was under the impression for a while that most of the people had been doing it for a long time, and then the more I get to know them, I find out they're first year in, I'm like, oh wow, I didn't know that.
So we're all in the same area.
Yeah.
I know LJ like to think that I'm somebody great, but 2 years ain't nothing in this. It's nothing.
You've been keeping yourself busy. You've been on a lot of shows and whatnot. You're doing well for yourself.
I do try to stay busy. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Who is a famous comedian that you can't stand?
That I can't stand? Ooh, that I like. Let me think. I like. You know what? No, let me do this. But I can't absolutely stand Amy Schumer. Not a fan. I've seen some of her specials and stuff, and I'm just I'm more grossed out than just bored. Like,
Yeah.
I'd rather be bored in a special than grossed out.
It's funny because I actually just watched like a YouTube documentary about her last night, and in it they were showing the differences between different specials she's done, and I guess she used to date Anthony Jeselnik for a while, which I didn't even know that.
I didn't know that either.
But I guess they were a thing for a while, and while she was dating him. She had like put this special out, and it was showing like some clips from that special, and it was all like closer to his style of humor, like dark, shorter, like like type of jokes, which was better than what she does now.
Yeah.
But it was almost like, is he just writing your material? Like, because that's what it seemed like. And then it showed like after they broke up, and then like the next one, it was just like completely different, like.
Good Lord.
So yeah, I don't know. It was a good watch though. I don't know how much of it, was opinion based, but
that's true.
But it was a good watch.
Yeah. Well, in my opinion, she's one that I can't stand.
Yeah, I can't stand her either.
I'll pass on anything.
Yeah. What is the worst you can ever remember bombing?
I would say at an open mic, which happens because it's all new material. It's probably one of my earlier sets. I was trying to work out some new stuff, and it was borderline painful. I mean, I got some chuckles here and there, but it was like I went with this material like, yeah, this is gold. I'm gonna kill it.
Yeah.
Like these honkies gonna love it. Can I say honkies on the internet? These honkies gonna love it. And I went up there and I got some chuckles, and I just felt so bad. I was like, oh my god, that's probably the worst I've ever done. I don't know if an open mic should count, but it still stings. Like,
no, yeah,
absolutely. You go up there with something, you put your time, your energy, your mind, your heart into it.
Especially when you think you're gonna do good.
I know. I went up there like I did great last week. I did great the week before. This week, I'm gonna knock their pants off. And I went up there, and I'm pretty sure one lady left. She's like, not this nigga. Nah.
Yeah. I know that does suck. There's been like a few times where like I've wrote a joke and be like, oh, this is gonna go over great, and then I go there and tell him because like nothing. I'm like, oh, no one even understood that. Like,
you hear him looking at each other like, what is that? Yeah. Dang it!
Yeah.
Do I need to repeat it? I only got 5 minutes. Like I can't go over this again. That was 3 minutes.
Everyone knows jokes are funnier when they're explained. I know the other. Oh man, what was it? It was just like a few weeks ago. What did you host at LOL a few weeks ago?
I did open mic. I hosted the open mic there.
So there was like, I know that might have been it. I know it was something you were hosting.
Yeah.
And there was a decent crowd in there, but it was like a weird crowd.
Yeah.
And you got up there and hosted, and like got like a little bit, but like I've seen you go up a bunch of times, and like the reception was not great, like like how it usually is. And as soon as I seen that, I was like, this is not going to be a good night. And it wasn't.
This open mic,
it was not.
I wasn't even prepared to host that night, but Mike was so tired. He was like, hey man, can you just host for me? I was like, I guess. Like, I had some new stuff I wanted to try. He was like, okay. And I was like, dang it. So I had to mix some old stuff with new stuff. Yeah. And my stuff is kind of story-based, and it all goes together. Yeah. So yeah, it was kind of weird to jump from this to that, and then trying to put new stuff in. And at that show, accidentally, a woman who was in the crowd accidentally thought she was a dude.
I forgot about it.
Because it was dark. Bro, she had dreadlocks and dickies on. Like, what am I supposed to think?
I forgot about that.
Oh, yeah, I felt bad. I kept calling the bruh man.
Yeah.
And then it's like, I'm a girl. I was like, oh my God. Let me turn some lights on here.
Yeah. Oh, that was funny.
She was a good sport.
Yeah. But yeah, the whole night was weird.
It was
like,
weird.
Yeah. But it was still fun.
Still fun, yeah.
Let's see. Who is? I love asking people this joke. Everybody always like hesitates to answer it. Who is the worst comedian that you know personally?
That I know personally, the worst?
Yeah.
I don't hate any of comedians, but as far as comedians I've seen work and constantly get work, but they're not funny. A dude named, I hope hope I don't get his name wrong because there's two of them. And one of them is very funny, and one of them is not at all, in my opinion. I think his name is Matt Perez.
Okay.
I actually haven't seen him around in a while. But I've been on maybe like 3 or 4 shows with him. Never got a laugh.
Yeah.
Somehow still gets work.
Weird.
And he also hosts his own, I think, showcase at least he used to host a showcase every few weeks. So that's sometimes how you get work. Put me on yours.
Yeah,
I'll put you on mine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But no, I've worked him 3 or 4 times, never got a laugh. And I'm just like, oh, God, how does this happen? Like, at least, I don't know, just say a bad word and get a chuckle or something. Like, this is painful for me.
I hate it when there's people, like, on a show ahead of me, and then they go up there and just like completely bomb, and they just like
kill the crowd.
Yes, and like I'm just like, I promise it's gonna get better. Just stay, please. You can see people walking out. You know, you're like, oh, come on, man.
Oh, I've been there. Like, you just walk people. You just walked a paralyzed person. That's how bad you were. That man got up and healed by the power of Christ and bad jokes and left the room. Like, that's how bad you were. Thank you for healing that man, but ruining the show.
Exactly.
Jeez, man.
Yeah, that's rough, man.
It is.
Have you ever witnessed somebody doing one of your bits before?
Doing one of my bits?
Yeah.
Nobody would dare. I'm kidding. I'm not tough. I'm just big and soft. I'm actually very ticklish too, ladies. No, I've never seen anybody do any of my bits. I've seen people riff off of my bits into their stuff, but no, nobody's ever like straight up jacked me. But I mean, a lot of my jokes about growing up black and poor.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Trying.
So I grew up in the ghetto, black and poor, with my mom, and she was frying grits.
Yeah.
Like, how the hell is this?
She literally slapped the black off of me.
She slapped the look at you. She knows the spots though, it was tattooed. That's a hell of a magic trick. But I never had anybody jack my jokes, not personally at least.
Right. Have you seen people jack other people's jokes before?
I've seen other people jack famous comedian jokes.
Yeah, yeah.
I've seen one instance of, not local, this is over in the Orlando area. Somebody did a bit, I believe it was a poem about their dad that they pretended to write on a napkin. And then like a couple weeks later, I seen somebody else do the same bit, and I was like, oof. It's not a good look, pimp.
No.
Like, same thing. Like, almost word for word, too. I was like, that's not a good look, bro.
It's not great, yeah. I saw a guy in Tampa do a Norm Macdonald joke, like, word for word, except for he just changed what, like, the joke was about a dog originally, and he changed it to, it was about a gun in the joke. But it was, like, the exact same joke. Yeah, and I was like, and the dude had, like, not been doing great up until that point, and then he did that joke and was, like, starting to get laughs. I'm like, do you guys not know who Norm Macdonald is? Like,
I've heard this joke before. I can show it to you. Give me a second to put my Netflix.
Exactly.
Spotty Wi-Fi.
It was super frustrating. So, what would you say would be your main goal to achieve with comedy, if you could have like dream goal?
My dream, actually, I don't want to be a famous traveling stand-up because I got warrants, so my picture everywhere. Greater jail looking for me. But no, if I could, my dream job would be to be a writer. Like, if I could write for a comedy show or write my own show, I think that's more what I'm interested in. Yeah. I prefer to be behind the scenes if I can. Yeah. Like, I've written jokes with other comedians before and be like, great, that's funny, you can have it. Like, I'm just not a huge fan of the spotlight if I can avoid it. Like, I love doing stand-up, but like I say, if this can lead me to writing stuff, I'm perfectly fine with that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I kind of know what you mean. I'll often say things like, oh yeah, I'm going to be famous, or I want to be famous, blah, blah, stuff like that. But really, I don't think I want to be famous.
It's a lot of trouble. It's a lot of spotlights on you. You can't do anything. You can't say anything.
I would
try to cancel you.
I just want to be famous enough to live off of doing comedy.
That's
but
fair.
I don't want to be famous.
You don't want to be world traveling blockbuster. Malachi Morgan, like, oh snap, they know him in Nigeria. Yeah. And Malachi is world famous.
Exactly. I don't want to be that famous. My current goal is to get big enough so I can do cruises.
That would be a nice gig, actually.
I think so.
If you can stand being on a boat for 7 days, it's not a bad gig.
I think it'd be awesome.
I did a cruise before, and I drank for like 7 days straight. But I mean, I could tell some jokes in there, put on a tuxedo, and get on stage, a little test. Hey, how y'all doing today?
Yeah. What is it? It's like a morning show and then like an evening show,
That's
and then probably the rest of the time you're just hanging out and drinking on the boat.
That's pretty much it. There was a couple shows. I didn't go to any of the comedy shows on our cruise, but all the people that were the entertainers, the dancers, and ice skaters, and all that. I mean, they're just walking around the cruise like you. So
yeah, I mean, what else are you gonna do?
You do your stuff, and then you just go drink, eat, whatever. It's pretty cool.
I've heard it pays really well too.
I bet it does. Well, you kind of stuck on a tin can for a week. You better pay well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, growing up, my whole life I've always wanted to go on a cruise, but I've never been able to afford to go on a cruise. So I'm like, what better way to get paid to go on a cruise?
Instead of giving y'all money, give me money.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the dream.
Give me money. I can tell these jokes about girls with no eyebrows, which I love that bit, by the way.
Thank you.
I love it.
Thank you. So yeah, what do you think about taking over this Union Hall gig?
We will see how it works. I'm going to go to a couple people who I know who run shows and see how they do it and how they handle it.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it turns out to be fun. I'm not in it to make money. It's just to get more comedy out there. Like,
yeah.
If I make a dime, I don't care. Union Hall's a nice venue.
It's a cool venue.
It's a cool venue. Yeah. We just got to make sure that we get everything organized and set up right. No last minute stuff. And hopefully it runs great. And like I say, get more people out, more people on shows. Like I say, the more comedy, the better. I'm not trying to compete with anybody.
Yeah.
I'm not going to compete with Pink. I'm not going to compete with LOL. Just try to have some funny out in these streets.
For sure. And I mean, I feel like that's a good mentality to have in comedy, period, all around. Because, sometimes I'll talk to, like, some people, and, most people I run into, most other comedians are, like, super, like, friendly and supportive.
Yeah.
And, like, yeah, dude, you're doing great, But occasionally you run into somebody and, like, they just seem...
They feel like you're taking their shine.
Yeah. And I'm like, dude, I'm not taking anything away from you. You can still do well.
Yeah, you can do you and still be fine. Like, and I can do me and still be fine.
Exactly.
We can both be funny.
Exactly.
Like, as long as we're not stealing each other's stuff, we can still be funny.
Right,
but so comedians are a very sensitive bunch of people. It's all the scars and the trauma from our childhood and youth that it makes us not willing to trust other people, because when you're in school and you're the class clown, you're the class clown. Like, you're the funniest person in that class.
Right. Yeah.
But if some new jerk moves into the classroom, and he's funny too, so now I gotta compete with this cocksucker.
Yeah.
So yes.
Yeah. No, and I was that way whenever I was like a kid in school, for sure.
Yeah.
Whenever I was a kid in school, because I remember there was this kid in my class who, because I always was like the class clown. And
I never would get
yeah. And but then I went to a new school, and then when I went to the new school, like they already had like their class clown there. Yeah. And so it was like everyone was like, oh, this kid's so funny or whatever. And that kid also, like, he had he did some like TV work and stuff also.
Really?
Yeah. I guess his parents like had him do he did like some commercials for like Nickelodeon and stuff like that.
I ain't gonna lie, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I know. I was super jealous, and like it would make me so mad. I was always, but I would always be like, he's not even that funny. I'm funnier than he is. Like,
I'm telling you. Shut up, I go to recess.
But I think he might be a comedian now.
Really?
Yeah, because a couple years ago, he grew up and he did some things he was like a host of some show on TV or something.
Nice.
And but I was passing by the Improv in Ybor like a couple years ago, and I seen his name on like this little thing out there.
Do you remember his name?
Yeah, his name's Elliot Morgan.
Elliot Morgan.
Yeah.
I gotta check that out.
So I don't know if he's a comedian or what exactly he does, but they had his name there, and I know also he was on an episode of some YouTube show that had Ethan Klein from like H3H3 on it. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Off the top of my head. No.
Anyway, it's unbelievably he had like a channel where he would do like little skits and stuff like that. He'd do commentary on different stuff.
Okay.
But he was a pretty funny guy, or he used to be at least. But he like blew up, and now he's like a millionaire.
Of course.
Yeah. So, and now he just does like a podcast, and he's not as funny anymore. But, but yeah, he was on like some YouTube show with that guy. Like it was like a game show thing, and they were like competing against each other.
Really?
So yeah, I guess he did pretty well for himself.
Check that out. Elliot Morgan.
Yeah.
I had to look into that.
Yeah. I should probably look into it too.
Probably. See if you hook you up, but like, man, I'm doing comedy too. You remember me from school? I was the guy that pushed you down the slide and said I was funnier than you.
Yeah, I was the guy that never really liked you very much. Yeah. But good for him. What advice do you have for newer comedians?
I am a newer comedian, but I guess for anybody who's doing
Newer than you.
Newer than me. I actually was talking to somebody from another state who hit me up. We got a mutual friend. He's like, hey, I need some pointers. The same stuff you probably hear from every other comedian. If you bomb, don't worry about it. Rub it off.
Yep.
Or walk it off. Rub it off sounds gross. But walk it off. Everybody bombs, even the greats.
Yep.
Keep writing. Always try to come up with something. Always write some new material.
Yep.
Even if it's not great, just keep. The more stuff you have, the more opportunities you have to find a golden nugget of a joke.
Absolutely.
What else is there? Keep going out if you can. Now, try to hit as many mics as you can. I know you guys usually hit LOL and then Pink.
Yep.
So yeah, just keep hitting all the mics you can. And the stuff that you do have, like the jokes that you know are good, keep working on them and polishing them.
Yeah.
And sometimes even if it's a good joke, you might be able to find a way to expand that joke.
For sure.
Expand that joke and even add more time to your set. And also, don't try to be nice to your fellow comedians. Like,
Yep.
don't be a jerk. Like, we're all in this together. I know it sounds kind of cliche to say that.
It goes a long way, though. If you have like an arrogant type of attitude, it rubs a lot of people the
Nobody
wrong
wants to
way.
work with you at that point. And some people who are arrogant are typically not funny. Like,
I agree.
I've come across that a lot.
I agree.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, great. So you're the host of this show. You do realize that you're just hosting, and I mean,
Yeah.
you're not featuring or headlining anywhere. So I mean, you've been hosting this same room for 7 years, bro.
Yeah.
Come on, don't be arrogant about it. It's nice that you're hosting, but I mean, show love to other comedians. Like Mike Lee's always looking out for new comedians,
Absolutely.
and trying to bring them up. And I really appreciate Mike for that.
Absolutely.
If it wasn't for him, I would have been driving out to Orlando every time to try to get a spot. But he started comedy here a couple years ago, and that's why I'm in it, and some of the other people out here are in it. You worked with Donald Evans before, right? I think we did the Union Hall show together.
Yeah. We were on a show together. So maybe it was that one.
I think it was
somewhere.
Union.
Yeah.
It was either Union or Pink. But
Yeah,
yes,
one or the other.
but yeah, Mike Lee. I mean, he's always looking out for new people and new talent. He always trying to give people a microphone to tell terrible jokes into.
Yeah, I know. Like one of the first times I performed at LOL, as soon as I finished like my set, Mike was like, "I want to talk to you outside."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Okay," and he was like, "Man, like I really like that." He was like, "I want you to keep coming out here."
Yeah.
And he was like very like supportive, and he was like, I'm gonna use you for stuff in the future."
Yeah.
You know, and he was like super behind me, and he stuck to his word. You know, and now like he has me on a couple shows coming up,
Nice.
you know, and you know, now I'm employed there.
Yeah, pretty much. He still does that to me, and I feature for him now, and I feature other places, and he's like, "Come outside, I want to talk to you." Ah, crap.
Yeah.
He's like, "You can't be calling people bitch ass niggas." I'm like, well, if they weren't acting like bitches, no, I'm just playing. But I love Mike, man. I love him to death. He's like my white skinhead brother from an entirely different mother.
Yeah. Mike is great. He's very supportive.
It's like we're just promoting Mike on this podcast. What the heck? It's like the 15th time I mentioned Mike Lee.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Mike Lee, Max 98.3 in the morning. Eric and Mike show.
Mike told me he wanted to come on and do the podcast.
Really?
Yeah.
That'd be a heck of a show. Make sure you have plenty of Fireball here. Make sure you have a cot that he can sleep on, because he will likely get drunk and pass out.
I'll buy one of those. I seen him the other day. He had one of those buckets.
Yes, he
It's
does.
just full of mini bottles of
That's how he
Fireball.
does
I'll
it.
buy one of those for him.
Oddly enough, I've seen Mike open all those bottles and pour it in that bucket and just drink the bucket. Mike Lee shit cinnamon discs. That's how much Fireball he drinks. I love you, Mike.
So, what are some of your favorite open mics to hit up? Like that you get some like the funnest crowd reaction from?
If I start a new job, so I'm trying to balance getting more open mics, but I really enjoy LOL. I used to go to Pink when it was on Thursdays, but now it's on Wednesdays.